G'day, I'm Adrian, and this is my place. G'day, welcome to my channel. It's been a long time coming. This is the first episode, first video I've done. This is Ziggy. He's my constant companion and will be with me in lots of videos, so you'll get to check him out and what he does around the place. My channel, it's going to really just be filming what I do. It's going to be all the nitty-gritty stuff. It's going to be great detail about the things that most of you have sent me questions and asked me about, which is the filtration, the maintenance, water changes, the systems that go with it. So it could be a long video. So yeah, you best go and get comfy because I'm going to talk about fish. Cheers. If you've watched any of Nick from Keeping Fish Simple or Katie from Katie Cichlids, those two YouTubers are good friends of mine and have really been the ones that I guess have showcased my room before. It's just my garage, but this tank behind me in particular has been something that I think people have been drawn to, and I really appreciate that. It's obviously the biggest piece of living art that I've done, and it's something that I'm pretty proud, and to pardon me, to show people. It's something I've never done before. This was just my garage. I've been keeping fish for 45 years. At the moment, I've probably got 110-ish tanks, tubs, ponds, containers, buckets, you name it. 600 and 480 or 500 wide. So they and that's millimeters, of course, if you're not from Australia. This tank was set up really to house large angels and large tetras. I wanted to do sort of a biotope, really. I guess it was something that I like to try to mimic nature and the environments that they come from, and in particular the flooded river forest or the river banks is something that I really enjoy to try to replicate. So I didn't set that tank up originally that way, though. It was set up for my torpedo barbs, which are in the IBC out the back that I've got. I'm doing a first rough attempt at breeding those guys naturally. That's without needing the needles or the pheromones that they inject them with. And I'm doing that in conjunction with advice from Lucas Bretz from LRB Aquatics, who is a fish legend. If you haven't subscribed to his channel, please go and do that. As you'll see, I've left everything dirty. So I've let it build up to the point now that it needs maintenance. And I've done that specifically for this video because you would have seen the stylized, cleaner version that goes on Nick and Katie's videos, but this is how it looks sometimes. It's get my feet out of the shot there. Yeah, it looks terrible. So they're doing fine in there. The fish couldn't care less. In fact, they probably prefer it when it's all yucked up. But this one here is overgrown. You can see how much of the foxtail fern that I've got in there. Perfect for breeding the cardinal tetras that I've got in there. But if you look at the top, there's not much room for swimming, that's for sure. I love that that moss growing out in that rock there. So back to the filtration. It is at the moment being run off this sump and this FX5. Now the reason the FX5 was installed, there used to be a bio barrel system of 2 garbage bins in here, and it worked brilliantly. I was super happy with it. I'm going to do a video on setting up like a bio barrel sump and or outdoor pond the way that I've previously done them, and how all of that works together in a community system like this. But that particular FX5 was set up to run this waterfall. I wanted to have a waterfall somewhere, and that's it right there. Next is the sump itself, and you'll see I haven't fixed up the power cords since I had the storm here. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen the big storm that hit southeast Queensland. So yeah, I had to pull it all out and put stuff in for generators, etc. So all of the tanks run into this settling chamber here. So this settling chamber here, and all of the flow and plumbing, again, I've left it as it is. It's not exactly pristine and perfect, but you'll see I've got the drains and the overflows from each of these tanks in here. Each one of those has got a drilled bulkhead at the back of it, and then they run down the bottom three into these drains here. So those pipes run into there, which then I have a problem with the height, so I have to use a flexible hose going into the sump here. Yes, see, on the ground. So once it hits the settling chamber, I soak or pre-soak other sponge filters in there, and I have an airflow or a bubbler air stone just going flat out to keep all of the sediment coming up and flowing over. Then it goes through the different sponges, finer one on top, thicker one on the bottom, and then this one here is sitting on top of bio balls, so the largest one down there. It then goes down there, up that channel, and through one more layer of the, I think it's called Dacron, and then I might have two in there actually, and then back through different sponges again, and some more bio balls down the bottom. It then overflows, actually no it doesn't, it comes down under there, through there, and goes up through multiple bags of bio balls in this chamber here. This one is also where the pump is. That's the little pump, just a cheap Chinese version from eBay that I got there. I think it was like 150 bucks. And it's where I have a couple of the heaters in here. I also have a heater up in the tank because for angels, I did have discus in there previous as well, but unfortunately they all passed. I do like to grow some moss and other stuff with the use of the lights down here. I don't like to waste it, and I've got some bucephalandra in this little cup, which I am very keen to have come across, hopefully even carpet down there. So the overflow for the 8-footer is down in there. I don't know if you can see that, but it's behind that log. I do hide it. I do try to keep all of the operational stuff out of eyesight or eye line at least. So I do try to keep all of the pipe work and stuff hidden as best as possible, but if you actually look really carefully, like you can see the electrical cords and bits and pieces, that's the sort of stuff that hopefully this is too interesting to look at, as opposed to looking up at all that other stuff. So now, as far as the actual outlets go, I've got sponge filters on most of them, as you can see. And I usually just give them a quick rinse and wash in here. So these are like a pre-filter, and they stop all of the babies going down the outlet, which you will see possibly somewhere in there. Let me see if I can show you the size of the outlet. That's it there. Soak the moss. It's just stuff I find around the place, and I tend to like to use, don't we, Zig? So with all the pre-filters on the drains, as I was saying, it stops the babies getting through, particularly small plecos, but it makes it very easy just to insert that back in now, and that will stay, I think, pretty clean for at least a week, and I would do that as often as I needed. In particular, these tanks over here have the same system, and you can see the difference in levels there. So that's how I'll actually work out when the sponge needs cleaning, because the water level is significantly different to the other one. So in the normal circumstances, I wouldn't do the whole room in one day. So I'm not going to do that today. I don't have the time. So I'm going to do it over a couple of days, how I would normally do it. And this rack is usually where I start because it's the quickest, the easiest, and the least number of tanks. And it's also one of the ones that I spend a lot of time looking at, these guys over here. So as you can see, the water is not too bad. It's reasonably clear. I have been running my water change system based on the advice that Ross from RC Aquariums gave me the last time he visited my room, and I shared that on Nick's channel, which is the bubbles that rise into the water. The amount of time that it takes for the bubble to actually burst is really important, and the longer it takes means that usually the more I guess nutrients, ammonia, nitrites, nitrates that are actually in your water, the protein forms like a thicker layer as far as the bubble's concerned or the water's concerned. So it takes longer for the surface tension or the air to break the surface tension when the water is like that. So if your bubbles are coming straight up and they're busting immediately and they're not sitting on top of the water and then traveling along a certain distance, pardon me, then your water's fine. No need for a water change. But if the bubbles are coming up and they're not busting and they're forming the dome shape that they do on top of the water and they're traveling slowly away and then bursting over here, that would indicate that you need to do a water change. So I found that pretty good advice, to be honest. It's been, I haven't had any issues with water changes since I've been doing that, and I have been doing them more regularly since I've been noticing and paying more attention to that sort of stuff. So that's one of the things that I think the whole hobby and community is so brilliant about, is sharing information like that. Just, for me, it's I've been doing it for 45 years or more, probably way more. But the reality is that I didn't know that, and now I do. It's actually being able to put that into the hobby and the maintenance and the stuff that I do. And for me, I think it's just, again, a better level of standard to keep your fish at. So, and it's so easy, no dipping and all the drops, and even the apps that you get with the pH testers. I've used those, and they're great while you've got the tester and if you've got access to the internet. But when we were struck with the storms, I had no power, no internet for it was a total of 7.5 days. There was no way known I could turn my lights on or even access the water testing to see how it was going. So, and I ran everything on generators through that, but it was tough. All right, back to the filtration. Okay, so now I've dirtied everything up. I've cleaned the glass inside and out. I don't use chemicals on the outside. I just use a splash of water and use the scrubber on it. But you can see it's pretty cloudy now. So what I'm going to do is turn the pump off here. That's just the sump pump. And what's going to happen, I actually have a siphon, pardon me, siphon hose in here. That's a permanent siphon. It's a 1/2-inch irrigation tube, which is that one there, which then runs down to here. And as you can see, that's about how much water I've got constantly draining from that tank into this tank and going through the system again. And I'll leave it stuck under there so it doesn't come up, and I can still see that it flows out of there. So that'll continue to drain this tank and these ones as well. They'll go down to the bottom level of the outlets. This one will go to the bottom of the siphon, and as you can see, it's starting to overflow here. I have these two come down from the top and go into the sump. These two same size. Here we go. That one, there's another one there as well, go into the drain, which I've got running onto the grass outside at the moment. You'll see that tank's coming down pretty quick now. So, to counteract that, what I do, I have my water change system. This here goes to the other side of the room. This here goes to this room. So what I do, just normal garden stuff, it's nothing fancy. I turn this one off for the other side. This one's already on, and I'll set it for about 30 minutes. So what that's doing now is it sends water up this pipe, down here, down the way, into this manifold. And at the moment, I've got two things hooked up. The top tanks is that one, so I can have it flow into those three tanks at the same time. There's nothing connected for those ones. They just get the water flow from the others. And the 8-footer has got, you won't see it because I've hidden it, but it's right up the back there. It's just garden hose, as you saw on the manifold, running into that. So what that means is that this is running into the 8-footer. This is turned off for the top of the tanks. This is turned off for the other side. So all the water, and I've got it at 30 minutes at the moment, flows up and into and out of the hose that's connected in there. So that will stop that tank from draining too much. I leave the FX5 running at the moment. I won't be changing it today. I will do something on canister filters because I follow Corey from Aquarium Co-op's advice on supercharging them, and they set them up wrong pretty much from manufacture. So I will do something on canister filters and cleaning, but not today. I don't have the time. These guys love a water change. They'll start behaving brilliantly shortly. They're like little puppy dogs, these guys. They just have so much personality. These are the leopards that I bred. So I will get some more B-roll of these guys. But these, believe it or not, came from the same parents. So I've got the red-shouldered wild type, I guess. And there were a couple of wild angels in there originally. And then I've got my leopards. So I've never seen them advertised for sale anywhere, and I don't know anyone else that's got them. So the plan is now to breed these guys, the leopards, with these orange speckledy ones as well, because I'd really like to try to get an orange leopard angel. And I think the genetics, the way these guys are super strong, I think we can do it. So when I see them pair up there naturally, I'm going to go and do that. Anyway, back to cleaning the sump. This is the bit I don't like doing. This is the changing, or in fact I'm going to just hose that Dacron out because it's not too dirty today, so I best get into it. Okay, so what I've done, took forever to wash those things out, but I cut a new piece for the bottom, and then the piece that's been used, I've washed it out once before, that's the second time. I won't do it again, but I'll use that now to catch the majority of the stuff for the next week. Then I'll take it out and it starts with a fresh sponge underneath. Same with that one. You can see the two layers there. If you zoom in on the bio balls and the stuff that I've got in there, there's the last stage. Now that's pretty dirty, so what I do, as you can see, the tank still maintain that level. And the aeration and filtration still going with that sump and my waterfall, which I'm pretty happy with. I love how that's all grown out of there. Anyway, back to what I was saying, is I turned this off before because I didn't want it to flush out too much. So now I'm ready to make sure that I give it a good flush. So that will not only fill up, but I'll probably run it for maybe half an hour. And then that way all of that water will go through. What's going to happen now though, before I turn the pump on, is that's going to fill up, hopefully push that dirty water through into the sump there, and then push that dirty water there out the overflow. So, pardon me, how I know when to turn the pump back on, which is the switch here, for that little pump, is when that sump is clean and clear. So I'll check back in with you when that's happened. Pausing the filtration and cleaning here for a quick segue. I wanted to show you these guys. These are blackline Brazilian tetra, and I was lucky enough to be gifted 5 of them by James, a subscriber on my Instagram, who lives local. So I don't know how I'm going to go. They're in the 8-footer now, but previously I had them in this little tub over here. So I've got to start looking. That was 2 days ago, so I haven't seen any fry in there yet, whether they laid eggs or not. But those guys are my new favourite tetra in here. There's 5 of them. Oh, cool. So I just went and grabbed my torch to see if I could see some, and I saw some. Now, they were just over there. Just got to find them and then I'll zoom in. Oh, there's one right at the top there. I don't know if you can see him there. Can't hold the light and zoom. Let me see if I can get around this side. They're definitely in there. So yeah, I've managed to breed. Oh, there he is. Is that right? There he is. I've managed to breed some of the Brazilian blackline tetra. First try, that was pretty cool. And all I did, just so I can show you what I did, is there's not much in the bottom. Little air stone going. I had a few rock piles and some of this foxtail fern, and I stuck some of the pothos that was hanging out into it, left them for a week, caught the parents out, and then have put them into the 8-footer. So that's what they're going to look like. I'm pretty happy with that. Very cool indeed. So the tank's clearing up a bit now. It's been running for about half an hour, I guess, just to give you an indication on time. It's looking okay. And then you'll notice down here, that chamber is clean and clear. That chamber there is clean and clear, and so is that. So it's almost time to turn the pump on, but what I'm going to do is run some more fresh water through these guys, give it a good flush out. So and turn that valve on there, which means that one is going to the sump. That one is going to the top 3 tanks. Give it 30 minutes. I won't do 30 minutes, but at least I know the valve's fully open. And then I'll grab the ladder. I'm actually 6'1", but it just doesn't look that way on camera. Okay, so in there, should be flowing in there, but it's not because of the flow I've got coming out of this one. So in theory, if I put my finger over that there just to block it, that'll run. And that one's sort of running. That's okay. I'm just going to let that do its thing for probably another 10 minutes maybe. These ones down here, they don't get any water flow into them other than through the sump. So that's why I like to give these maybe a 50% change at the same time. And again, by then, this will be looking pretty good. So they're doing their job, those Dacron filters in there. I'm always happy with them. Well, given I've got so many babies, I guess I should make up some baby brine shrimps and feed for them. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Okie doke. It's now been 5 days since I've done the filter change on the 8-foot sump. I haven't changed the Dacron, but you'll see that it's actually looking pretty good at the moment as far as having collected for now 5 days. I finished that filming on Sunday, and I am here on Saturday morning to do the last bit of this video. So what I'm going to do today is go through the actual main filtration for the house, because I have a pre-filter for the entire house, which is why it allows me to be able to fill up from any tank or any tap or anything around the whole property. So the Big Blue house filter that I have got installed here at the very first point of entry to the house, it just allows me to fill up any tank from anywhere around the house, hoses, showers, sinks, etc. What it does, it takes out as much of the chloramines and chloramides and every other rubbish ingredient that they put into our water, including fluoride. Although it's not rated for fluoride, it does remove it, obviously, because I use it just this filtration system and put it straight into my tank. So it either reduces it down to a level they can cope with, or it removes it. But as far as the water goes, it's better for the fish, it's better for us, everyone living in the house. It doesn't have all of that garbage in it. So if you can remove it at a point of contact in your whole house, it's better for everyone. If not, then you need to continue to do things like either have a system set up like an RO unit that takes it out. Okay, so there you have it. That's my first video done. Hopefully it was worth watching. Editing has been pretty interesting. It's new to me. I've only just started it, so please be kind. Next week, if you're going to subscribe, like, share, do all those things, that would be amazing. And then what we're going to do is attack these guys here. There is a heap of work that goes into doing this whole side, and that's another whole video. And then I think thereafter what I'll do is read all of your comments. I will take on board any of the ideas and thoughts that you've got to film in the room and other sorts of content that you'd like to see on the channel. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Cheers. Have an awesome week. Bye, guys.